So a couple of, I guess a couple of videos ago, it's a couple of days ago for me, but probably a few weeks for you guys, I had mentioned that, you know, when I was rebuilding that Hyundai engine, that it had some idler bearings that were making a bunch of noise. And so I was debating whether or not to change them. And as I drive it around, I'm like, man, it's you know, it's driving me nuts, so I'm going to change them. Which, you know, I don't need to. I could sell it the way it is, but I don't know. I always like things to be right. So, you know, if you ever want to buy a car, buy it from me, because there won't be anything wrong with it. Yeah, I don't hide shit or cut corners, I guess. But that thing has three idler pulleys, and it has a tensioner pulley as well. So there's a total of 4 pulleys on that thing, and they're all shit. I'm gonna spin them. Hopefully it comes through in the camera. Last time I did this, it seemed to work. So hopefully that's the best one. So just keep that in mind. So hopefully that's coming through. So the first one was the best one we have. So I mean, they're as rough as toast. Oh, actually, this is the best one. It's got a little bit of a ting to it. So, you know, they're junk. I bought replacement bearings, just the bearings, not the pulleys, from SKF Bearings. They were $8.90 a piece. So they'll probably ship Tuesday because Monday's it's February 17th. Tomorrow is Monday, February 18th, which is a holiday in America. Not for everybody, so they may ship tomorrow, they may ship Tuesday. Either way, they should be here by the end of the week. I also, while I was at it, pulled the alternator, and hopefully you can hear why. Hopefully that's coming through. It's kind of, that thing's heavy, and it's hard to spin it, right? So I did 2 things today. I pulled the belt, the serpentine belt off that car, started it up, and it was so quiet. It was beautiful. And then I just spun all the pulleys, and on the car, they were all shit. I mean, they were all bad. And then I was spinning this alternator by hand, and I could hear that chirping noise. And I was like, oh, yeah, it doesn't sound great either. But everything else was sweet as a nut. Water pump, power steering pump, all that stuff's good. AC's good. So I've got everything off the car that was making noise. Like I said, I've ordered the bearings for these, so when they come, I'll press them out and press in the new ones. But the reason I'm going to make this video was because I'm going to tear this alternator apart. And this alternator has a, well, most alternators have a front and rear bearing. One's behind the stator, and one's going to be behind the pulley. It sits behind the housing, not the front pulley. Well, here, I'll show you. So there's going to be one. Whoa! If you take a straight line from my finger to about here, whoa, inside that alternator, there's going to be a bearing in there, and then the other bearing's going to be sitting. Let me try. It's going to be sitting right about there somewhere. You know, if you go into the middle, that's where it's going to be. So I'm just going to break this alternator down and get a couple of bearings. Our replacement alternator was $200. It's basically $200, right? It was 100 and whatever plus the tax. It was a little over $200. And then even with the coupon, it was still a lot of money. I'm not into that car for much money at all. Like at all. It's a super cheap car, but I just don't want to put another $200 into it because that's $200 of profit that I'm throwing away. So instead, I'm going to pull this apart, yank the bearings off it, get the numbers off them, measure them, get the sizes, whatever I need to do, and go ahead and place another order with SKF tonight so that all those bearings come at the same time, next week. So this video is just going to be about like tearing an alternator apart. Okay, so we're going to rip this alternator apart, yank the bearings off of it. Another thing I'm going to do, whoa, it's going to be noisy. Another thing I'm going to do is knock this sleeve over a touch. This came out pretty hard, so I'm making this, putting this back into the car. I want to make it a little easier. So we're gonna tap these across later. I mean, not now. Just more sand it than anything. So first thing you want to do when you're stripping down an alternator is yank the pulley off of it. Hopefully it's our friend. It's a 24 mil, and I have a 12-point socket, which is probably a bad idea. Let's get a, let's live dangerously. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That impact's a beast. It's a beast when it's on number 3. So just try and keep this stuff in order, you know, make a mental note like that little collar sits into the housing when you're putting it back together. And that would make sense too when you look at it, you know. Yeah, it wouldn't sit like that because it'd be all cattywampus. So just, you know, try and keep a mental note, or put stuff in order or something. Or here, we'll make a little parts pile over here. Try and keep stuff in order. So there's a bearing sitting right here on this shaft, literally right behind this housing is where your bearing is, or your front bearing, I should say. So to get to that, obviously we need to split the housing. On this, it's 8 mils. So we'll grab an 8 mil. Hopefully we don't break anything. Sometimes these can seize. Oh yeah, these are coming right out. So that's our four housing bolts. Yep. Looks about right. If we're lucky, this will just pop right off, but it probably won't. No way. So there's a couple of dowels. I'll show them. Hopefully I can show them to you. So here's one of the dowels. So these always get kind of stuck and seized and whatnot. So we're going to get a little screwdriver. Let's see if we can just work these over a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. Lovely. All right, we're moving. Awesome. All right, so that's moving. Let's go ahead and strip the back of it apart. She is kind of rusty in there. So here's our bearing that we're chasing right here. Fingers in it. That's our front bearing. Looks like it's held in with Torx. Cool. And then our rear bearing is going to be a bit more of a challenge now, since how we did this. Let's see. This thing is pretty rusty. The stator's rusty. Ooh. Okay. Maybe that's why we were squeaking. Because that bearing feels beautiful. So it's either the rear bearing or it's the rust. Man it right out by hand. Oh, that stator's nasty. So those bearings are good. So most likely what's wrong with this, and you can probably tell by looking at it. So this car got driven into enough water where it hydrolocked, right? Well, this alternator got completely soaked. It is just covered in rust. I mean, I think that's the issue. I did take all of these over to my sink and I sprayed everything up with parts cleaner. These bearings they're beautiful. I did get all the rust, or I shouldn't say all the rust, but I took all the rust off the peaks of this so that, yeah, stop that squeaking noise. And I did clean out the inside of the stator. Whoa, easy fella. This was fairly bad, but I've cleaned all of that out. Hopefully that's coming through. So we are pretty much ready to go back together. Let me grab two things. Let me go grab a new beer, and I'm gonna grab some Super Lube. Let's get this put back together. So inside your stator, there is a little plastic, if you can see it, there's kind of yellowish white, like a little plastic collet. That's where your shaft and bearing are gonna sit against. We're gonna just lube that up a touch. You don't wanna put any kind of lube or anything in the stator, which we should probably just use the straw. Make sure. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So be gentle. Try not to damage anything. You should be able to push that right back in just by hand. I know it came out hard, but you should be able to push it just straight through and put that bearing home just with your hands. You know, if that doesn't work like that, or you've got resistance or something, stop. Something's wrong. Yeah. Same with this. You should be able to just kind of squeeze it in with your hands. Like you shouldn't have to go too nuts with this thing. And nor do you want to be beating the crap out of this either. So we're almost there, I guess. It is tight, you know. Just gotta make sure we're not gonna damage anything here. I may put the front cover in the vise and then just squeeze the back. I don't know. Trying to figure out the best way to get this back on. Yeah, let me go. I'm gonna go set this in my vise, which I'm not gonna be able to set you guys up to see that, but I'll be right back. That only took like a minute. I just put it on the vise and pushed it down with the back of my hands, and I've gotten it. Oh, you can probably see. I've gotten it almost all the way closed. It's probably a millimeter or two to go. But we're just gonna tighten that up. And that should be totally fine. So they're all started. Let's run them in. So hopefully we don't hear any binding or anything like that. Means we did a good job. Sounds pretty good. If you do hear binding or anything, top trick. The only thing that can cause any kind of binding there is this stator ring is not in the right place. But what you can do, if you have anything that's stuck or whatever, you can just very gently just kind of nudge that around until you get it perfect. Mine's pretty good there. So, yeah, there you go. There we go. So get your plastic cover over the back again. It looks a little crooked or something. I don't know. What have I done wrong here? Oh, I see. I see. Hang on. There we go. You bugger. These are 7 mils, I think. There must be 8. Jesus. 7, 8, my God. There you go. This thing makes it line up. Okay. And don't forget your little washer. Pulley. 24 mil nut. No idea what torque spec that is, but that thing's at number 3. So, ugh. That's a beer and a bit. That's spinning over way, way nicer. It's not making that noise it was making before. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a lot smoother. I'm going to spin it up with this, and then let you guys listen to it. So hopefully that worked. I don't know. It doesn't stay spinning for very long. So yeah, quick alternator. I don't want to say rebuild because we didn't really rebuild it. But yeah, just kind of a quick inspection, repair, cleaning, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's spinning beautifully. I'm having a hard time editing this video. I don't know what to say. You know, I just took that alternator apart, cleaned everything, put it back together. I mean, there's not much to that. Luckily, it didn't need bearings. So that car, I did start that car with the belt off, and it sounded so nice. I mean, super, super quiet, no noise whatsoever. So all of my noise looks like it was the idler bearings and the tensioner pulley. So no big deal. I've ordered the bearings. We'll press them in, press them out, and then that car's like completely done. I have already created the advertisement to sell it. So once that's done, or once I get the bearings, whatever, put them in, it'll go up for sale. And I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell it for $9 grand. That's what I'm gonna put it up for. The retail value of it's 11.2, 11.4, something like that, with the mileage and the model and all that crap. You know, that's pie in the sky number from Kelly Blue Book, right? That's really, you're never really going to get that for it. But I'll put it up there for about 9. That's probably what it's worth. Well, it's probably worth a little more than 9, but I'll put it up for 9. See how we go. After buying them bearings, I'm up to $32.90 is going to be my cost on that. So, if I sell it for 9, it's still a pretty good profit right there. Even if I sold it for 8.5 or 8,300 and just take the $5 grand profit, I mean, I think it would sell for 8,300 very, very quickly. But I'm in no hurry to sell it. I'll put it up for 9, and I think 9's a reasonable number. I don't think that's out of reach or anything. I think that's a good deal for someone if they give me $9 grand for it. But if somebody's like, I'll give you 85, I'm going to take it. Most likely it'll be long sold before this video hits YouTube. Yeah, so, but I should get around between $5,000 and $5,500 profit on this one, which is good because I'm looking at other cars. I'm hooked on BMWs. Yeah, I'm like checking all the time for BMs. And there's a 335i 2011 silver hardtop convertible coming up with 69, basically 70,000 miles on it, and it's nice, and I want it. It's got a fair amount of damage on it. It's, you know, it's not going to need doors or anything like the blue one did, but it's going to need a hood. It's going to need the front clip. It's going to, you know, radiators and that kind of stuff. So the blue one didn't need that, right? So it's just different type of damage, but probably similar cost to repair. It needs a headlight. Fucking headlights. Headlights for them things are like $1,000, if not more. So yeah, we'll see. I don't want to overpay for it, and I won't overpay for it. But that's when that comes up for sale. I'm gonna try and buy it. And I'm looking at a Subaru too with really low miles, like 39,000. So hopefully, if that comes up, I'll buy that. That'll be a flipper. I won't keep that. And then I've got like half a dozen other cars that I'm watching too. If they go for the right money, I'll buy them. So there will be another project coming, probably right behind this one, if not a month. You know, my videos are like 2 months behind right now. So most likely I'll be working on something else by the time this video comes out and gets onto the YouTube, the tube. But yeah, there you go. That's Alternator teardown video, in case you need it.